Hey guys, welcome back once again to an HLO / guy stuff recipe combo. This is going to be an awesome, delicious recipe. We're going to be smoking, we're going to be using the barbecue, we're going to be doing veggies. This is going to be a cream of smoked turkey and wild rice soup. This is the traditional Minnesota type recipe, so we are using real wild rice. This is not a cheap recipe, by the way, especially if it's not anywhere near Thanksgiving like it is now. We're in the middle of May. This freaking turkey was $35. Part of that is because it's a fresh turkey, not frozen. That definitely adds a lot of cost, but it is worth it because otherwise you gotta thaw that thing for 2 to 3 days. I learned that lesson doing my beer can chicken. And we're going to kind of do it the same way as we did the beer can chicken, but not with the beer cans. We're going to be doing the turkey on the smoker, on the charcoal grill, and it's going to be in a roasting pan, and we're going to basically be basting it in some beer and some seasonings. So, you know, it's too big to set on an actual can to steam, but we can keep the moisture in there that way. This is a pretty big turkey. Let me see how big this one is. This is obviously way more than we're going to use for the soup, but I will have plenty left over for sandwiches and whatnot later on. So, okay, it was $33.87, and it's just over 14 pounds. So $2.39 a pound. Not bad, but you know, it's really the only choice I have. Other than that, you have to get them frozen. No, thank you. Now, I am a mushroom fan. Some people have commented they are not a fan of mushrooms. It really is a critical component to the traditional soup, and I'm actually jacking it up. I'm using 4 of these little containers here. It's about 3 pounds of mushrooms. If you want it lighter than that, you can certainly take some out, but I love them and they shrink down, so when I only use a little bit, I kind of lose the mushrooms in the soup sometimes. I am choosing to use a combination of parsley and green onions or scallions for my little zip zing in it. I have some ears of corn here. They happen to be on sale, so I grabbed 10 of them, and I'm going to be grilling them at the end of the turkey on the grill, just as a snack, and you know, we can have this as a lunch while this is all coming together. Might throw it on first because it's kind of early, but anyway, those will be delicious. If you've never grilled corn, oh, you got to check that out. That is just the bomb. I mean, I like them boiled and normally, but grilled, oh, you just loosen this up a little bit. Throw them on the grill directly over the heat. They only take about 10 minutes, just rotate them. You just don't want any flames to actually burn the husks, but that's it. I mean, they sit in this and steam. You just peel them back and you know, you eat them like an ice cream cone, put your stuff on, you're good to go. They're awesome. Good for you too. So I got my green onions and parsley. We're going to do the classic carrots and celery. I'm going to use probably half of this bunch of carrots, maybe a little bit more, and the whole celery. Those are going to be finely chopped. We're not doing big chunks. This is not a big hearty stew like we did with the beef. This is a normal soup. The wild rice, if you can find the quick cooking, you can go ahead and get that. The only problem is that more than doubles the price. It was ridiculous. They had one brand of fast cooking rice, and the difference is a half an hour or 45 minutes for normal to 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm saving the money, and I'm just going to cook this separately and then add it to the soup that way. It was stupid. They had a 2-ounce bag of quick cooking rice for $5.50. 2 ounces. It was just ridiculous. So I needed about this much. This is a total of 24 ounces. A little bit more than I wanted in there, but one bag wasn't enough. So got that. And traditionally the recipe calls for sour cream, but we are going to substitute our Greek yogurt, our non-fat Greek yogurt, because we know that cooks well. If you did the fajita recipe, you know what I'm talking about. No problem there. We're just going to use a splash of EVGA just for our sauteing purposes and a little bit of salt and pepper. Beyond that, we're going to use a poultry rub, and I forgot to get it out of the cabinet here. But anyway, try to get one without salt if you can find it. If you want to make up your own and just use seasonings, that's fine. We do not need any salt on the turkey when it's going to be in the smoker. It's going to be bathed in beer, and we're going to ladle and baste it a few times during its smoking. And that's really it. So the prep is extremely easy, just chopping a little bit of vegetables. I saved a lot of time and got pre-washed, pre-sliced mushrooms. So bam, those are all done. All I have to do is chop up some carrots and celery. Whoop-de-doo. Oh, and some green onions, and loosely chop up some parsley. Wash that. And the whole thing with the time is going to be just smoking the turkey. Now, like I said, this is going to be kind of like the beer can chicken, so if you want to check that video out, definitely do that. Awesome recipe there too. It was the beer can chicken, smoked chicken soup. I can't remember what I called it, but I did beer can chicken on the grill. Anyway, now I need to go start the grill. This is, like I said, going to take about 2 hours. This is a case where you need a thermometer. With big poultries like this, you cook to temp. Do not trust time. We're going to be looking for about 170 degrees at the breast, just off the bone. And when we get to that point, we're going to pull it off and let it cool a bit, and then we're just going to shred it. And we're going to use, I would imagine about half of this for the soup. So there you go. Let's go ahead and go out and start the grill. Just got to put the coals on, get those going, and that's it. Alright, first thing we have to do is get the coals going. You've seen me do this before, nothing magical. We're going to be using a full chimney, and you want to fill it but not pack it with paper to get it going. And that's going to take about 20-25 minutes to get going. When you see the tops get nice and gray, the flames start to die down, they're ready to pour on. So I'm going to start this, and while this is going, I'm going to go for a bike ride. Well, our coals are just about done. I just got back from a bike ride. Got about 5 more minutes here. Quickly, I'll go over a couple things. First, we're going to be doing this indirect, so these coals are going to go on one side of the grill, and the turkey is in a roasting pan that'll be on the grate opposite. We're going to be cooking fairly high heat. This is not a typical low and slow smoke. I'm going to be using wood for actual smoke, but it's going to be at a higher temp. We're going to be pushing 3 1/4, so we're going to have our vents wide open on the grill, but cover on. So that'll keep things in check. The basting for the turkey, you can do it, use any kind of rub or liquid you like. I suggest, this is what I did today, about a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and I did some Italian seasoning, about a 1/4 cup of that, and then a bottle of Boston Lager. You want to use a liquid that is full of flavor. You don't have to use beer or anything alcoholic, and it's not like the dish is alcoholic anyway, and this is only for the basting. This doesn't go into the soup, so you don't even have to worry about the EVGA, but you could use any kind of fruit juice you like also. And this is just to keep the turkey moist while it's cooking. It's just sitting in a pan with that moisture. So I got to clean off my grate a little bit here, and I got a bunch of unburnt coals. I'm just going to scatter them to get the ash down and move those to one side, and we're just going to put our hot coals over top, and there's going to be more than enough in there to last our turkey. Coals here are just starting to turn gray on the top, so they are just about ready to pour in. I just want a little bit more in there, so by the time I get done with this, they will be ready. And there's our bird. Now I'm just doing the main body. What you want to do if you don't have a huge grill, which most people don't, you want to trim off the wings. Now you can cook these separate if you want to, and I'm just going to put them here off to the side. They'll be a nice little snack partway through. That way you get the bird fitting very nicely in the roasting pan. You can see the marinade in here, and about every half hour we're just going to spoon it over and keep it moist. That's all it's for, is to keep things moist. All we have to do now is put the lid on. I'm going to set my timer. Oh, forgot the wood. Yeah, that might help, huh? Again, you can use wood of your choice. I just happen to have a bag of pecan here open, so that's what I'm going to throw in right now. Nothing special with this. You can soak it if you want. You can use chips. You can use chunks. Like I said, this is not your typical low and slow recipe, so it's going to go through it pretty quickly anyway. I'm just going to toss it on. It smells really good. It smells like pecan. There we go. So now we put the lid on. Always have your vents opposite your coals. Let those flavors wash over the meat. And we'll be back in half an hour just to baste it. And those wings are going to be done in probably 1 hour. We'll check them. Alright, let's check in here. It's been about a half an hour. Oh, it smells good. Rich pecan smell. Beautiful golden color coming on so far. So what we want to do is just baste it. Just keep it moist. Nothing fancy, nothing special. And that'll do it. Just want to do this every half hour or so. I'm going to put a little bit here on these wings on the side. Got plenty of liquid. Whew, smoke's kicking up. Lid back on. Come back in another half hour. Alright, we are about an hour and a half in. Let's check and see where we're at. I've basted it a couple times. Oh, that smells good. You can see all the moisture bubbling out of it, through it. Don't need to baste it anymore. The wings are about done. So I'm going to pull them off, and I'm going to put some corn on here, just kind of fit it in between, and we'll have some lunch while this is going. This is going to sit for an hour after it's done. Oh my god, smoke's coming up in my eyes. Turkey's going to sit and cool for an hour after it's done, and then we're going to shred it and put it into the soup. So we have quite a ways to go until the soup's ready to eat. So we're just going to eat those wings and the corn as a lunch. But let's check our temps here. We want to go into the thicker part of the breast. And again, we're looking for about 170 to pull it when it's done. We're about 140, so got about another 30 degrees to go. Probably take about another half an hour. So I'm going to put the lid back on here. I'm going to go and get the corn and get a little dish and pull those wings off, and we'll have some lunch. I guess I'll show you the corn too. There's nothing really magical about it. We're just putting it on for, 10-15 minutes, rotating it and eating it. Pretty simple. Alright, got some corn here. Really simple. If you have any loose leaves, just pull those off. You just don't want them going up in flames is all. And just tear off the real loose ends. So this is about what you want right here. And then they simply go on. You can put them right over the coals. And they will steam themselves. Let's see how many we can fit on here. I got 10 of them since they were on sale. 10 for $3. Alright, lid back on. I'll give them about 5 minutes and we'll just flip them over. And I'm going to go ahead and take these wings off now. Wings, drumsticks, whatever you want to call them. Oh yeah, nice. Got the skin pulling off the bone there. It's thin enough where I know it's done. If that's hitting 140, this is perfect. Just set these in the pan. We'll let them cool and have those when the corn's ready. Beautiful. Alright. Alright, things are looking good. Our corn has been flipped. It's been on about 20-25 minutes total. Let's check the other side here. That's what you want. The nice little golden char going. One's on the end. I'll move in. I'll take these here that are more done. Those will be nice and ready. I want to see some crispy husk and some steam coming out of the middle. And they're absolutely perfect. Let's go ahead and check the temp of the meat here. Should be about done. Get it close to the bone without touching. 172, 173, done. I'll take that. Alright, let's shut this thermometer off, wipe it, put it back. Stuff is ready to go in. Alright, I'm just going to put the corn on the tray, haul that in, take the turkey in, and like I said, that is now going to sit for an hour and cool. You can just tent it loosely with aluminum foil, let it sit. and then we'll get on with cooking the rice next. In the meantime, I'm going to have some lunch with those wings and corn on the cob. Okay, it's been about a half an hour. Our turkey here is covered and it's just sitting still piping hot. It'll continue to heat up and cook for a good 20 minutes after you bring it in. So I'm going to let this set for at least another hour before I touch it and shred it. There's no point burning your fingers off. It doesn't have to be hot going into the soup whatsoever. So feel free to just let it sit there and cool near room temperature. And one ingredient I neglected to show in the beginning is our fat-free, low-sodium chicken broth. And again, when you buy this, check brand to brand. The store that you find this in, you're probably going to have at least 2 or 3 brands of this to choose from, and check it out. Pretty much the only thing you're looking for is the sodium content. This brand was by far the lowest at almost 100 milligrams less than the next nearest one. So low sodium or less sodium doesn't always mean the same thing on the labels. Definitely check it out, get the lowest possible. And these are 48 ounce cans, jugs, boxes, and I'm using 3 of them. I'm probably going to only use 2 1/4, 2 1/2 or so, but it was cheaper buying the larger ones than 3 or 4 of the smaller ones. But we're using somewhere around 128 ounces for this batch. The next step I have to do is cook my wild rice. Now, as I said, I'm not spending $30 on rice for this recipe. These were like, I don't know, $6 a piece, so it's bad enough as it is having to spend $12 on rice. But the wild rice is very expensive. It's expensive to produce or farm. So all I'm going to do is prepare this according to the instructions, and then we're just going to set it aside, and it's going to be added to the soup later. So follow the directions on whatever rice you get. If you do opt for the quick cook rice, you do not have to do this step. It'll just go right into the soup and it'll cook in the soup itself. But I suspect most of you are going to be in my predicament and buying the excuse me, much cheaper non-quick wild rice. So I'm going to go ahead and cook this and put it in its own bowl, and it'll just sit here, and then we're going to get on with prepping the veggies. Alright, the rice is now coming down to a simmer, and it's just going to sit here for 20 minutes. Then we just let it rest, kind of like doing white rice, and fluff it after 5 minutes, and then I'll be able to set that aside. Now, got to do the veggies. I'm going to do about a half of this package of carrots, and of course wash all your veggies very well. Stuff comes in really dirty. It's not like dirt, but pesticides and stuff like that. We're going to do the same thing to the celery. Probably use about half of this. And then I have 1 bunch of parsley. You can just coarsely chop this up. You can put them in big chunks like this. You don't need to chop up the leaves. You can if you want to. It's just for texture, but flavor-wise it doesn't make a difference. And then I have 3 bundles of green onions. And for these, I only like to use the green parts, at least in soups. So that's why I've got 3 bunches here. They're only like $1 a piece. Very nice flavors. I cut them down to about here where they start to get real thick, where they're branching off. You want the real flavorful leafy part is the green. And again, rinse these off really well and just do a fine chop. You can eat these this is really good if you take some thin sliced ham and then some Greek yogurt and spread a real thin layer on the slice of ham, and then roll this part of the green onion up, make like a little pig in the blanket. Really good there. So who knows, might use these for something else. But we're just using the green part today. Alright, I'm going to prep all these veggies, and the rice should be about done to come off the heat by the time I get done. Got the veggies all prepped. For the parsley, you just want to roughly rip the leaves off. Parsley, if you don't cook with it fresh, if you're just used to the dried flakes, I think I got some up here. Yeah, here it is. Kind of get here, I mean, this is good for seasoning, for using as a dry rub or things like that, but not cooking fresh, not in a soup, not when you want to actually taste the vegetable itself, or the leaf. Has a real nice snappy mint flavor to it. Then we've got our green onions. This is all 3 bunches, so you can see it Only mix a couple cups at the most. Same with the parsley. For the carrots and celery, I used the whole bunch of celery and about 3/4 of that bag of carrots. You want about 3 cups of each here. And then our rice, this is both of those packets, and we'll use all of it. There's only maybe 8 cups of rice here. So I've got the bowl rinsed out, and we're going to do everything again, not bowl, pot, in here. So now we're going to saute up most of the veggies. And we're going to start with the mushrooms. Let me move some stuff out of the way here. Crank the heat up, get these out of the way. We're going to saute the vegetables. We're not going to brown them. We're not going to crisp them. We're just going to sweat them a little bit, let them reduce, and get them nice and tender and transparent. But this is not like we did the pot roast. There's going to be absolutely nothing burned. And it's not going to take that long. Even doing this whole bunch, we're going to do a whole bunch at the same time. Do the mushrooms, the carrots, and the celery at the same time. And the green onions. Probably is going to take like 10-15 minutes. I'm going to heat this up real hot, and then I'm going to put in a little bit of olive oil. Then I'm going to turn the heat down to medium, and while these are cooking, you need to keep stirring it. We don't want anything to start sticking or burning on the bottom. So, put the heat on. A little bit of oil just to coat the bottom. Alright, let's start with these guys. Very nice. I'm going to wait on the green onions, put them in at the end of it because they're very tender. They don't really need to cook. Now I'm going to get the mushrooms. We'll put those in. While our veggies are going, I am going to go ahead and pull the turkey. It's cooled down enough here where it's no problem to handle with your fingers. Now the skin looks burned. That is simply the coloring from the smoke. And we're not going to be eating the skin. It just literally peels off. It is absolutely moist and tender inside. No effort whatsoever. This is just falling apart. So we're going to discard the skin and just use a fork and shred the meat. You can see it's just dripping with juices. This is all natural. This isn't injected or anything. There's nothing added. Perfectly done. Great for soup. So yeah, I'm just going to shred this, and I'll probably use a good 6 cups or so of shredded. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this over near the sink, dump out the liquid, shred it, and put it into another bowl. Good. Alright, our veggies are done. They've been on medium heat for about 20-25 minutes here. The mushrooms have shrunk. They are now all tender. You can see there's still a good bit of liquid in here, so we haven't done any kind of browning, but everything is nice and soft. Can't bite through the carrots, but they're not rock hard, so this is what we want. We're not looking for big hearty chunks. This isn't like the stew, so we did everything in a very fine chop. You can see the veggies are very thin. We want these flavors and the textures to almost melt into the soup, and they'll do that in the later stages. But we do want good, normal, chunky, tight bites of the mushrooms, so we don't want them to be completely dried out. And we need this liquid because we are now going to make kind of a healthy makeshift roux. We're going to add 1 cup slowly. We're going to stir this in of not all purpose, of whole wheat flour. This is going to really give us a creamy, thicker texture. And if you've never had wild rice, it's unlike white, unlike brown, unlike all the flavored rices you've had, has a very, for lack of a better word, wild flavor to it. The texture is thick, creamy. It tastes like there's milk or cream in it, but there isn't. Just water and 2 tablespoons of butter in that entire 2-bag batch of the rice. Very, very healthy, good for you, full of vitamins. Wild rice is by far the best for you. It's probably why it's insanely expensive. I mean, I'm talking 10 times white rice. It's just stupid expensive. And it's kind of hard to find. I went to a large grocery store, one that's known in the area for their selection and for being expensive, because I know they're the only ones around that carry stuff like that. And they only had 1 brand of the big bag and 1 brand of the quick cook. We just got a new chain, well, not new, but new to us, Whole Foods, but they're still a half an hour away. Alright, got the flour mixed in there. We just want to make sure that there aren't any chunks of raw flour. Then I have 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of fresh ground pepper. Go ahead and put that in. And that's a bare minimum. You can add more later, but again, like I always say, do it in the bowl. Alright, so now we're going to add our 3 boxes of broth. We're going to bring this to a boil. We are just about done. At this point, it's just about adding things and heating them up, really. We're done with the cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and put these in, bring this to a boil, and we'll be ready for the next step. Oh, something I wanted to mention. If you saw my beef stew video, I used my big, I think it's aluminum pot for that. And the point I wanted to make is, if you use one of those pots, and it's like a camping style, very inexpensive. I got a set of 3 huge ones. That was the biggest one, and then a couple more that fit inside. And the whole set was like 25 bucks. I think I got it at Walmart, but it's camping gear. So it's inexpensive, lightweight, etc. Do not, under any circumstances, brown things in those pots. I had to throw it out. I went through 4 SOS pads, scraping it with a spatula. It was completely ruined. The stuff would not come off the bottom of it. I got a little bit off around the edges, and that's about it. So no more cheap pots for me. You know, I only had that one because I do camp. And I've got the 2 smaller ones left. The medium one is this size, and then I got one that's even smaller. But no more serious cooking for me in anything but normal cookware. Just a quick tip. Okay, I'm getting pretty full here. I am going to stop at 2.5 of these large ones, and I need to leave room for the rice and the turkey. So if we have room at the end, I will top it off, but that's all I'm going to put in right now. I think this will just about bring us to the top for 2 gallons. So shredding the turkey here, you don't even need a fork. It's just absolutely fall apart tender. Look at this white meat. Couldn't be any juicier. Just perfect. All you want to do is pull it apart, go with the grain. Very low effort. That's all you do. I may even do this whole thing. I've got about 1/3 of it done here, and I've got maybe 2 cups worth of chicken. So I think there's room in the pot. I'd much rather put it into this delicious soup than have it dry out and make sandwiches or something. What are you doing, Chloe? Puppies like turkey? Puppies like turkey? You want this? There you go. Good girl. Okay, we've got a nice boil going. Heat's on medium, so nothing's going to be burning on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and put in the rice now. Ended up doing half the turkey. It's much bigger than it looks once you actually shred it. And again, I've got maybe a third too much rice for this recipe, so I'm not going to put all of this in. I'll just keep it as a side, but like I said, it was cheaper to buy 2 of those big bags than any of the really expensive little bags. We're just going to put this in, let it come up to temp. It's already cooked, so there's really nothing to do. We're just combining stuff at this point. Let's try not to make a big mess. And after I get the turkey in, we'll top it off. See how much more rice we can get in there. This is also going to thicken it up nicely. Alright, let me reserve that. Grab the turkey here. Got a good mix of white and dark meat. I've got 1 drumstick, 1 breast. And again, already cooked. Just bringing everything up to temp. Get all this in, see how much room we have. And all this is just going to simmer for about 20 minutes, just to let the flavors come together, not to cook. Alright, we got some room left, so I'm going to put in the rest of the rice. And if you want more turkey, go ahead and put in more turkey. We'll see how much room we have here. I don't think I need any more broth. I don't want it any thinner. It's already a great soup consistency right now. This rice isn't going to expand anymore. We're going to add some of the Greek yogurt in, but only a couple cups, so this should be plenty of room right here, and that's really going to give it that creamy, thicker texture as a cream of turkey soup. Alright, let me stir this in just a little bit, turning the heat down to a simmer. Don't need it boiling anymore. Alright, I'm just going to let this sit and simmer for the next 15-20 minutes. We'll be ready to add the last ingredients and plate up. And now we're ready for the last step. I'm going to put in just about 2 cups of the fat-free Greek yogurt. And this is replacing sour cream. And we're going to stir in the parsley. Beautiful aroma coming off the parsley. It's kind of minty, but it's not so sweet. Just has that fresh smell. Alright, I'm going to do about half this container. This is a, how big is this? 32 ounce. I'm going to put in about 16 ounces, which is 2 cups. We just let this simmer for a couple minutes just to come up to temp again, and it's ready to plate. Super easy. Go, stir this together. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Here we go, the moment of truth. Get a little bit of everything in here. Delicious turkey, mushrooms, carrots, celery, wild rice, parsley, green onions. It smells good. Beautiful flavors. Beautiful aroma. Alright, let's give it a shot. Get some of the turkey in here. A little bit of mushroom. Alright. super smooth, thick, very creamy textured. A little bit of a sweetness coming in from somewhere. The wild rice flavor is really permeating. You can taste the smokiness of the turkey, a little bit of the texture from the mushrooms, and the veggies absolutely melt away. I can't detect the carrots or the celery at all. I mean, they're in there obviously. Oh, delicious. I have some more. Man. Tell you what, it's the wild rice that really makes this dish. I mean, this would be good with white rice, or even brown, just as a chicken or a turkey soup. But the wild rice, the flavor and the creamy texture that brings, wow, it really steps us up. All right, I'm going to kill the heat here. And this is done. I am starving. It's time to eat. So there you guys go. If you like these videos, please give me a thumbs up, share them, tweet them, Facebook them, repin them, email the site around. The more support I get, the more I can do. See you guys next time.